when you were at Mind Valley, I thought it was very interesting. You came from an agency world, and you're talking with like large budgets, large organizations, very much working with the best of the best when it comes to everyone in their specialized field. At least that is a lot of the assumptions I have when coming from the American agency world. And when you came into Mind Valley, you walked into an organization that was growing. A lot of people were more like jack of all trades, and we were speaking or talking in a specific industry, which was personal growth, authors, publishing. And I'd be curious to kind of open there and seeing what were some of the biggest shocks you had walking into this specific industry, coming from something that was much larger.
Yeah. The first answer is the hugging. Everyone in Mind Valley just gave me a hug when I walked in, which was very awkward because, in Malaysia, it's a very sweaty place. So I was a very sweaty person and people would just hug me and be like, but yeah, no, that was the weirdest part about it when I arrived. But no, truthful answer is, I think one of the weirdest things that I experienced was when I started an agency. I was like, cool, I have my own company. What a great thing to do. I'm my own boss. And then in the agency worlds, you realize that all of a sudden, like if you have 15 clients, you have 15 different bosses. And you're thinking about 15 different things on a very regular basis, right? So like from 9 to 10, all of a sudden you're focused on a vodka company. And then from 11 to 12, you're focused on Louis Vuitton or the children's place or like all of these like things that are disconnected. And when I got to Mind Valley, it was just super interesting because I got to focus on one thing and like that thing being personal development and a team of people who are also focused on personal development. It was primarily just a culture shock, really. But then, yeah, just everyone having their own specialty in their niche and pointed in one direction was completely new to me. And I don't know if it's better or worse, but it was different.
I don't think I've ever been in an environment where I had to do such a stark switching of context based on the client. And I'd be curious to know when you're in that field where you're in a specific role and you have to do that switch and you're working in marketing, what do you think is the essence of marketing that has to continuously be on and is moving consistently from client to client that people are looking for when they say, I need marketing, I need an agency, I need some stuff around strategy? Where do you think is the way that you bring the most value when it comes to marketing?
Yeah, so, I mean, it always comes down to storytelling, right? Like that's the number one thing in marketing is talking to a CEO, hearing the story, then being like, all right, let's tell it in the best way possible and let's get it out to the most people, right? And I think at Mind Valley, the most interesting part about it was having so many different authors, but still trying to tell this overarching story, right? So we were working with so many different people, and then there was the vision story and trying to combine all of those pieces when you only have 30 seconds of someone's time, right? Like it always got tricky, but what I really discovered was the secret sauce is just pattern disruption. Like that really is the essence of marketing to me, is just pattern disruption. You see so many people that are all trying to latch on to the same thing, right? So all of a sudden it's like, VSLs, we're all going to do VSLs. What are our competitors doing? And everyone tries to do the same thing. And what I realized is just do something different. Do something different. And that's always been kind of my secret sauce is don't pay attention to what anyone else is doing. Just do it separately. Do it different.
There's a quote, and I don't know who says that, so I do apologize if I'm not giving the right credits, but it's like everything's great until the marketers come in and replicate it so many times that it's ruined. And so, when I think of 10 years ago, and yeah, you had some sort of VSL format, then you had like the webinar, then you had like the three piece of content launch formula. But I also feel like there's a cycle, right? Because then like if nobody's been using it for a while now because they all jump on a new thing, something that was maybe a little more retro is now the new hot thing. I don't know if you've been in the industry long enough to see that cycle happen.
I was just thinking that the other day. So I went to a movie with my family and there was a group in front of me wearing, do you remember Jinko jeans? Those absurdly big jeans. How old are you? You're around
I'm
my
36.
Age, right? Okay. Well, and you're also Canadian, so maybe everyone wasn't rocking Jinkos. But they were like these huge jeans. And I remember trying to buy them and my mom being like, I'm sorry, I can't buy you these jeans. They just look ludicrous. And then like all of a sudden moved to skinny jeans. But I was at a movie and these kids were wearing Jinko jeans holding skateboards. And I was like, I would have been in fashion. Like in this year, 30 years later, I would have been in fashion. And I think marketing is very much the same. Like, honestly, right now, if we talk about, let's say, A-Fest, right? A-Fest, great party, great time. We try to get the word out.
I'll just add a little caveat for those who might not be familiar. A-Fest is an event that Mindvalley puts together, high level, with personal growth authors, festival kind of vibes. So I just want to clarify that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm speaking Mindvalley. I'm back in the game. But I swear, personalized invitations mailed to people, like mailers will be back in fashion, right? Because for the longest time it was junk mail, junk mail, junk mail, nobody cares. But now if you open something and it was a little bit custom, you would actually read it. And I think a lot of that in marketing just comes in a cycle over and over and over again.
It's funny. I think you would look at maybe 5, 6 years ago, the biggest thing everybody was talking about is you need a funnel. You need a funnel. You got to automate a funnel. You got to build a funnel. Funnel hackers is a big event. Everybody's moving to ClickFunnel and they're building their funnels. And everyone who's wanting to grow their business, they have to hire people that are experts in funnels. And then there was a bit of a switch where then it was like, no, you need a sales team. You need a sales team. You need people on the phone. You need to be closing high ticket. This is it. What you just said about the physical letter is always been something that a couple ninjas in the background are kind of doing. But I feel now that everybody's like, oh, we're not picking up the phone. We're not scheduling appointment. We're not doing any application calls or onboarding calls because everyone's like, yeah, every time I sign up to a funnel, I know it's a sales pitch. Every time I jump on a call with somebody, I know it's a sales pitch. So I feel like the physical letter is definitely going to make some sort of comeback right now. But also the technology makes it easier than ever to automate these types of things too.
Yeah. But again, a little bit of creativity. Open a letter and have like a fake butterfly shoot out, right? Like just something that makes it a little bit different. And I feel like if marketing was a cake, everyone's trying to copy the exact cake when it's like nobody is actually trying to build their own cake, if that makes sense. Like it just seems like everyone's trying to do the same thing to the highest caliber and you focus on what everyone's doing and you try to do it a little bit better, but nobody stops and says like, why are we doing it this way?
I'd be curious to see what you've noticed, given that now with the technology, like doing anything is easier. Like I can be Joe, who's just starting one-man show with a good platform, and I can maybe do direct mailers. I can host a webinar. I can build a funnel. I can use AI and do some personalized chatbots. So it feels like a lot more of the strategies are accessible to me. Do you find it's harder to find what is something that is unique and creative, or do you think the recipe's always been the same?
So creativity and the medium are always two very different things, right? So chatbots exist now, right? But what you do with that chatbot is very different. Like, for example, everyone is very afraid about like AI and copywriting, right? AI is going to take over copywriting. I love that most people are doing copywriting with AI. I absolutely love it. Because AI is not tongue-in-cheek. AI can't stand out with like a personal story. And obviously it will get better, but it takes the recipe and it goes, okay, here's the best email we can send based on what everyone else is doing, because that's what it does. It aggregates information. So still just, even with an AI chatbot to start a conversation, how you program that thing, right? Like is super important. So that first sentence that it says to enable the conversation, make it different. Make it something different. Not, hi, Brenda, how can I help you? It's anything else. Anything else. Take a thought about what your business is and what you do and just make it stand out slightly more.
You have a recent client you've been working with where you've put this kind of shock and awe and it actually brought in some results that might highlight this in application?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, one of the most successful emails I've ever written in my career, and I'm not really a copywriter, but every once in a while I'm like, oh, I got an idea. I want to try this out. It was for T. Harv Eker, and it was during COVID, and it was a $5 book he was selling. It was like The Spiritual Laws of Money. And the email started with why I hate Starbucks. And it's this long story about like him going to Starbucks during COVID, wearing a mask, having his name spelled wrong, spilling his coffee on himself, and just this bad experience. And it was at the end, it was like, I don't want you to waste $9 at Starbucks. Instead, I'm going to give you this book for $5. Don't go to Starbucks, buy the book. But it was tongue in cheek and it was engaging, and it converted like crazy. Like, I think it was one of his highest converting emails he's ever had. But again, just taking a slightly different angle than what everybody else is doing and not following the perfect recipe and doing it your own way.
Thank you so much for listening to the Selling with Love podcast. We have some previous episodes you can tune into right here. And if you prefer the short form content where you get to the point in under 10 minutes, we do have a ton of clips from our best episodes that are being shared on this channel as well. So pick which one supports you the most. And of course, thank you for liking, subscribing, and of course, selling with love.